I never thought an old VHS tape would save our family's 200-acre ranch, but Grandpa Jack always did have a way of planning ahead. My name is Sarah Thompson, and this is the story of how I stopped my cousin David from selling our legacy out from under us. The Double T Ranch had been in our family for 4 generations. Great-grandfather Thomas Thompson started it with just 50 acres back in 1923, and each generation had added to it, turning it into one of the most successful cattle operations in Montana. Now, the ranch was worth close to $8 million, but its real value was in the blood, sweat, and memories soaked into every acre. Grandpa Jack ran the ranch until his health started failing last year. He was diagnosed with early-stage Alzheimer's, but even as his memory began to slip, his love for the land never wavered. He would sit on the front porch every evening, watching the sun set over the mountains, telling stories about every fence post and cattle trail. My cousin David never understood that connection to the land. He saw dollar signs where we saw heritage. While I spent my summers learning ranch operations from Grandpa, David was off in the city, dreaming up get-rich-quick schemes that never seemed to work out. "Sarah's wasting her time playing cowgirl," he'd say whenever he deigned to visit. "There's no future in ranching." But I knew better. Under Grandpa's guidance, I'd modernized our operations, introduced sustainable practices, and even started a successful farm-to-table program that supplied high-end restaurants in 3 states. The ranch wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. Then came the day Grandpa had to move into assisted living. His Alzheimer's had progressed faster than anyone expected, and we couldn't safely keep him at the ranch anymore. David suddenly started showing more interest in family matters. "Someone needs to take charge of the ranch while Grandpa's away," he announced during a family meeting. As the eldest grandchild, I should handle things. I was skeptical. David hadn't spent more than a weekend at the ranch in 15 years. But before I could object, he produced a document. "Grandpa signed power of attorney over to me last month," he said smugly. "He wants me to modernize things, bring the ranch into the 21st century. Something felt wrong. Grandpa had always said the ranch would stay in the family, operated by someone who understood its value beyond money. But with his declining health, could he have changed his mind? 2 weeks ago, I drove out to visit Grandpa at Mountain View Assisted Living. He was having one of his good days, alert and chatty. When I mentioned David's power of attorney, his face clouded. "Sarah," he said, his voice urgent, "go to my old office. Behind the picture of your grandmother, there's a safe. Inside you'll find a VHS tape labeled Ranch Future. Watch it." Before I could ask more questions, his attention drifted away to distant memories. But I knew that look in his eyes. It was the same one he'd get when teaching me some crucial aspect of ranch management. He was trying to tell me something important. The next day, I found the safe exactly where he'd said. The tape inside was dated 6 months ago, just after his diagnosis. I took it home, hoping my old VCR still worked. That's when David's real plan started becoming clear. He brought a realtor to the ranch, a slick-looking woman named Ms. Porter from a big city agency. "The Double T Ranch is a prime development opportunity," David was saying as they walked the property. 200 acres of pristine land, perfect for a luxury resort community. I confronted him that evening. "You can't sell the ranch, David. It's not yours to sell." He waved his power of attorney document. "Actually, I can. Grandpa signed everything over to me. The old man's not competent to make decisions anymore, and this ranch is worth a fortune to the right developers." "The ranch isn't for sale," I insisted. "Grandpa would never want Dash." "Grandpa's not in charge anymore." David cut me off. "I am, and I'm tired of this backwards piece of dirt dragging our family down. The sale goes through next week." I spent that night watching Grandpa's tape on my old VCR. What I saw brought tears to my eyes, and gave me the ammunition I needed to stop David's scheme. The next day, David brought Ms. Porter and 2 developers to the ranch for a final walkthrough. They were discussing lot divisions and golf course layouts when I walked into the main house carrying my VCR and a small TV. "Before you go any further," I said, "there's something you need to see." "We don't have time for family movies," David snapped. "I have full rights to sell this ranch and Dash." I plugged in the equipment and pressed play. Grandpa's face filled the screen, looking healthier than he did now, but just as determined as I remembered. "If you're watching this," he began, "it means someone's trying to sell the Double T Ranch. I'm recording this message while I'm still of sound mind, with my lawyer present, to make my wishes clear." David's face went pale as Grandpa continued. The Double T Ranch is not to be sold. Ever. I've placed it in an irrevocable trust, with my granddaughter Sarah as trustee. The power of attorney I may have signed under duress or confusion doesn't override this trust, which was properly executed and filed 6 months ago. The camera panned to show Grandpa's lawyer holding up the trust documents, explaining their legal validity. Then it returned to Grandpa. David, I know you're behind this. You've been trying to get your hands on the ranch's value since you were a teenager. That's why I had to protect it. The Double T isn't just land, it's our family's heart and soul. Sarah understands that. She's the one who'll keep our legacy alive. Ms. Porter was already packing up her briefcase. The developers were backing toward the door. But Grandpa wasn't finished. And David? The power of attorney you're probably waving around right now? Take a close look at the signature. Then look at this. Grandpa held up the same document, dated 2 weeks earlier than David's copy. Notice how my signature is clear and steady here? Now compare it to what you forged. An old rancher's handwriting gets shaky with age and illness. You should have practiced more. The realtor turned to David, her face a mask of professional fury. You said you had clear title to sell. This is fraud. He's not competent. David sputtered. This video doesn't mean anything. Actually, I said, it means everything. The trust is registered with the county. Grandpa's lawyer confirmed his competency before the diagnosis. And that power of attorney you're holding? The police are very interested in discussing it with you. David ran. He made it as far as his BMW before the sheriff's deputy I'd called earlier stopped him. The realtor and developers gave statements about his attempted fraud, eager to distance themselves from the scheme. When I visited Grandpa the next day, he was having another good moment. Did you find the tape? He asked. Yes, Grandpa. You saved the ranch. He smiled, looking out the window toward the mountains we could just see in the distance. No, Sarah. You saved it. I just gave you the tools. The investigation revealed the full scope of David's plan. He had been negotiating with developers for months, promising them a quick sale and clean title to the land. He'd forged the power of attorney after Grandpa moved to assisted living, counting on everyone assuming the shaky signature was due to illness. What he hadn't counted on was Grandpa's foresight. The trust he'd established was ironclad, designed specifically to prevent the ranch from being sold out of the family. Even if David had succeeded in selling it, the buyers would have ended up with nothing but legal troubles. The criminal charges against David were serious, attempted fraud, forgery, and elder abuse among them. But what hurt him most was the complete rejection from the family. His own parents, my aunt and uncle, refused to help with his legal bills. He tried to steal our heritage, Uncle Bill said. Let him face the consequences. David ended up pleading guilty in exchange for a lighter sentence. He'll serve 2 years in prison and have to pay substantial fines. His real estate license was revoked, and his reputation in the business community is ruined. The Double T Ranch has flourished in the year since David's attempt to sell it. Our farm-to-table program has expanded, and we've added an educational component, teaching sustainable ranching practices to the next generation of farmers and ranchers. Grandpa's health has stabilized somewhat. He has good days and bad days, but whenever I bring him out to the ranch, his eyes light up with recognition. He may not always remember names, but he remembers the land. The VHS tape that saved everything sits in a special place in my office, alongside the trust documents and a picture of 4 generations of Thompsons standing proud on their land. It's a reminder that sometimes the old ways, like recording your wishes on outdated technology, are the best ways. We've had offers to buy the ranch, some even higher than what David had negotiated. But money can't buy what we have here, a legacy of hard work, family ties, and deep connection to the land. The developers who'd planned to turn our cattle trails into golf courses have moved on to easier targets. But they left us with architectural drawings of their planned resort community. I keep them as a reminder of what we almost lost. Last week, I brought my young nephew out to help with the spring cattle drive. Watching him learn the same skills I'd learned from Grandpa, I understood even more deeply why the ranch had to be protected. The old VCR still sits in my office, ready to play Grandpa's message if anyone ever questions our right to keep the ranch in the family. But its real power isn't in the legal protection it provides. It's in the wisdom Grandpa showed in protecting our heritage. David's attempted sale taught us all a valuable lesson about vigilance and values. Money can buy land, but it can't buy the generations of love and labor that make a ranch a legacy. The Double T Ranch continues to evolve and grow, but always in ways that honor its history. We've added solar panels to the barn roofs and computerized our breeding records, but the heart of the operation remains the same as when great-grandfather Thomas first broke ground here. Grandpa's lawyer helped us strengthen the trust even further, ensuring that future generations won't face the same threat David posed. The ranch will always be worked by someone who understands its true value. The old VHS tape isn't just evidence of David's crime. It's a testament to Grandpa's wisdom in knowing that some things need to be protected from those who would trade legacy for quick profit. Every sunset I watch from the front porch reminds me of Grandpa's words on that tape. The Double T isn't just land, it's our family's heart and soul. Thanks to his foresight and an old piece of technology, that heart continues to beat strongly. David sends occasional letters from prison, asking for forgiveness and claiming he's changed. Maybe he has. But the trust Grandpa established ensures he'll never again be in a position to threaten our family's heritage. The ranch hands who've worked here for decades still talk about the day the realtor's face changed from confident to shocked as Grandpa's voice came through that old TV. They call it the day the past reached out to save the future. Spring calving season is here now, bringing new life to the ranch as it has for 4 generations. The trust ensures it will continue for many more, protected by Grandpa's wisdom and an old VHS tape that proved more powerful than any forged document. The mountains still rise behind the ranch, unchanged by time or human schemes. They stand as witnesses to our family's commitment to preserving what matters most, not the monetary value of the land, but the values it represents. Grandpa may not remember everything now, but his legacy lives on in every acre of the Double T Ranch, protected by his foresight and the love of those who understand that some things are worth more than money. The old VHS tape that saved our ranch sits quiet now, its mission accomplished. But the lesson it taught us echoes with every hoofbeat on our land. True value isn't measured in dollars, but in the heritage we preserve for future generations.